Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 160 based on novel. So let's start. Time Space Scribbles second book, it reflected the 9 Universe tablet second drizzle picture. In terms of deepness, this one was obviously more profound than the first one by hundreds to thousands of times. As Luo Feng had only comprehended just a bit of the second picture, the techniques revealed within the many pages of this book felt extremely mysterious to him. These techniques were built from the drizzle picture and it held within it bits and pieces of the drizzle picture. Some more so than others, some even incorporating the entire picture, so it's this way, so that's it. Luo Feng was completely immersed with reading this thick second book. The first book's 3,219 techniques, Luo Feng took a total of 3 days to learn all of them. However, of the second book's 2,102 techniques, 2,083 of them felt profound and incomprehensible to him. As for the other 19, he barely managed to forcefully comprehend them. As he drilled these into his mind, the drizzle picture of the 9 Universe tablet slowly became clearer to him. Many factories could disassemble machines, and according to the way the deconstruction took place, one could later learn and figure out how to rebuild it. One theory. Why were these techniques so valuable? It was because each technique could grow and get more and more profound, eventually pointing towards the depths of the origin laws. Studying these techniques was actually beneficial to comprehend the laws. This was also why, in the universe, many people would risk everything to obtain valuable techniques. After all, the ones who could truly view the primal chaos tablets were extremely few and privileged. Normal warriors would never even get a chance to see the 52 tablets. Luo Feng took a deep breath and put down the thick book in his hand. Good book, it really is a good book. Luo Feng looked at the cover of the book. The words time-space scribbles alone could make one feel the evolution, the change of stars in space among other phenomena. If only they were a bit cheaper. The third book is going to cost 100,000 points. Where will I get so many points? The points were extremely hard to acquire. Barbata, how long have I been studying? Luo Feng placed the heavy book back into the shelf behind him, asking, the first book, you took 3 days. As for the second book, you've been reading it for 29 days. The little demon on his shoulder said, 29 days? Luo Feng nodded, after which he shook his head and laughed. For the first book's 3,219 techniques, I took only 3 days to complete. But this second book's 19 techniques alone took me 29 days, and I still haven't even fully grasped them yet. How's the effect? Barbata asked, it's still okay. Luo Feng smiled. I've comprehended the 10th and 11th wonder, damn. Barbata's eyes were almost popping out. Luo Feng, you are too shameless. This is called still okay? The raindrop picture held within 9 wonders. The drizzle picture had 27 more profound wonders within. The rainstorm picture held the final 72 most profound wonders. A total of 108 wonders. These were the foundation of the space origin laws. I guess I'm also digesting everything I've learned from the past now. Luo Feng said. In Primal Chaos City, there were many fragments and pieces that I understood somewhat, but not fully comprehended. And now while diving into these techniques, many things that I was just about to fully understand resonate with each other, allowing me to continuously study 2 wonders. The Floating Bloods 108 techniques, I know 11 of them. Of course, the previous knowledge that I had, through the time-space scribbles, has allowed me to have great benefits. However, as it goes further, it won't be that easy. The first time looking at time-space scribbles had the greatest enlightenment. As one tried to comprehend more, it will only become harder. Unless he managed to go study the Primal Chaos tablet again, however that was in Primal Chaos City. Moreover, a chance to go back in was extremely valuable. Luo Feng suddenly stared, fiercely standing up and shouting. I've been studying time-space scribbles these past 32 days, that means I haven't attended any classes at all these past 32 days? Damn, even the ones I liked I didn't attend. There were many classes in the absolute beginning region, however they were all optional. Luo Feng didn't care that much about the normal ones who gave lectures about space and techniques. Those undyings didn't teach as well as his teacher did. However, The ones explaining the gold origin laws and space and gold fusion, these were the ones Luo Feng emphasized on. As his teacher Tru Yang Emperor was proficient in space, even though he had some comprehension of the gold origin laws, it couldn't compare to those undyings who specialized in it. What's the use of regretting? The little demon laughed. Here's some good news. Your favorite space and gold fusion class is on tonight, then I'll attend tonight. Luo Feng nodded. However, I should go try out first to see just how much my strength has improved by. Luo Feng jumped out of the balcony from his study, leaving behind images as he arrived at his training grounds entrance. Within the training grounds, the ground was shiny. Simulate Horned Dragon City. Luo Feng ordered. With Barbata's help, the place immediately morphed into a large portion of a huge city. The city was empty. In a 9-story normal building's balcony, Luo Feng carried the dark golden long rod on his back and shouted, "Rise!" Immediately from behind the long rod shot out little golden blades that covered the skies and land. The blurry images of these 1,600 blades were like little spirits dancing and swiftly flying about. In midair they swiftly began to extend golden threads infused with origin laws, and in the blink of an eye, they formed a golden totem. Totem pillar, go! Luo Feng pointed ahead at a bank skyscraper. Rumble, the totem pillar rolled and the space around it compressed. Its movement was almost like teleporting. Within an instant it crossed several kilometers and immediately smashed into that skyscraper. The entire building shook from the impact and was reduced to dust. Simultaneously, the entire ground below the building also shook and the impact rippled in all directions, causing a large wave throughout. Later, several kilometers around the epicenter were all reduced to nothing but dust. My strength control is still not precise. Luo Feng stood in mid-air, surveying the buildings that were reduced to dust below. Frowning, I want to control my attack and condense it into one line, however it still rippled along the ground. However, according to the time-space scribbles, over 3,000 techniques that I've slightly tweaked and combined with my comprehension of the 10th and 11th wonder, the power of my totem pillar is obviously much stronger. Luo Feng pointed far away. Go! Rumble. Rumble. The totem pillar was like a god punishing the land, crushing here and there. The moment it hit, that entire area would be reduced to dust. It may seem heavy, but it's light to control. I finally have this feeling. Luo Feng was very satisfied. Studying time-space scribbles was indeed a huge benefit. It actually made his Nanshan armament's 4th level so much stronger. Then what about the 5th? I'll give it a shot. With a thought, the totem pillar first separated into countless gold lights, returning to the golden long rod on his back. Rise! Luo Feng roared and his eyes focused. Immediately tens of thousands of little golden lights flew in all directions from his back. It was almost like a sun glaring in all directions. Countless golden lights immediately followed a path and gathered, immediately forming 36 1-kai long golden blades. The next thing to do was to combine all of these 36 blades into one dark golden long blade. Nanshan armament 5th level, every blade was made of 81 little blades. When these 36 were added together, it would form a total of 2,916 little golden blades. Luo Feng took a deep breath and watched the floating 36 blades, roaring, combine. Immediately the 36 blades combined together. Every one of them followed the complex golden engravings and shot out tens of thousands of golden thread. Every thread represented Luo Feng's comprehension of the space and gold origin laws. Also, while controlling so many blades individually, Luo Feng's consciousness was like a quantum computer managing everything. Succeed, combined together. Luo Feng's forehead was filled with perspiration. The blur of golden threads interweaved and formed between the 36 golden blades, finally forming a 3m long golden blade shape. However, there were still regions on that blade itself where it was shaking and unstable as the gold threads floated about and unable to fully combine together. Luo Feng's face was flushed red. His consciousness and spirit energy were stretched to the limit, as they were controlling everything. However, the repulsion of those spots was strong. The dark long golden blade violently shook and dispersed. Luo Feng sighed. Shaking his head, he immediately dispersed the 2,916 blurs of little golden blade lights and they returned to the dark golden long rod. If my spirit energy is domain lord level, then I can rely on it to force the combination. Luo Feng thought. If my comprehension of the gold origin laws was deeper, I would then be able to form it too. At the final point, him wanting to control the golden threads to combine perfectly, there were multiple spots that were unsuccessful. This was mainly due to his comprehension not being deep enough. Nanshan armament was a spirit weapon that was created from the fusion of space and gold origin laws. It was one of the 9 godly weapons. Gold, wood, water, fire, ground, wind, light and thunder, these 8 were much easier to comprehend than space and time. Hence during the formation of the Nanshan armament, it emphasized more on the gold laws, and its requirement of the space laws was slightly lower. My space origin law comprehension is enough for the 5th level, however, my gold origin law comprehension isn't enough. Luo Feng laughed helplessly. Gold laws, in this aspect, Luo Feng's study speed wasn't slow at all. Space laws, with the 9 universe tablet, floating blood and time-space scribbles, along with Tru Yang's instructions and the space pet Moshe clan studying, his studying speed was close to the gold origin law speed. However, in theory, the speed of his gold origin law study should far exceed the space study speed. After all, I did not have a teacher who specializes in gold to teach me. Luo Feng thought. Also, I haven't studied any gold origin law techniques. From what I see, it's time for the golden horned beast to pick a technique. That way, I can raise my improvement speed of the gold laws, inherited memories. The techniques within these memories were as vast as the ocean. My golden horned beast, which technique should I choose? Absolute beginning region Villa 1136, a silhouette rushed into the sky. This public class speaks about gold and space fusion, it's not bad. Luo Feng swiftly left the villa and headed towards the distant large skyscraper that could almost be deemed a large artwork. At this time, a line of silhouettes were flying towards it and entering. The entire building took up a few hundred kilometers in area. If placed on Earth, it would be an unbelievable construct. Classroom number 2, the size of this room was 80 kilometers long and 60 kilometers wide. Scattered around the back of the room were 1,000 seats. The rest of the space was for the undying teacher to sit cross-legged. Luo Feng, Yiku. Luo Feng smiled and waved at a skinny youth in scaled armor. This youth was bald and had bronze skin. He emitted a powerful, fierce aura. He was one of the few friends Luo Feng had in the absolute beginning region. Following which Luo Feng sat beside that youth. I haven't seen you this past month. Yiku smiled. Usually during these gold space fusion and gold classes you'd attend. There's been close to 10 classes this month already and I haven't seen you around at all. I even sent you calls, but it was cut off. I was studying some techniques, I got immersed and forgot to attend. Luo Feng laughed. Yiku, Domain Lord level, absolute beginning member. As he would attend every gold class, along with the gold and space fusion classes, Luo Feng had met him numerous times and became friends. Immersed in it? Yiku blinked. I guess your rewards aren't small then. Luo Feng nodded. Congrats, ha ha. Yiku laughed loudly, following which he said softly, however my brother, I estimate my own rewards too aren't small. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. You know, I control quite a bit of authority now. Occasionally I would meet some unexpected surprises. Yiku's eyes had a sense of anticipation within. I hope this time around, I will succeed. The moment I do, good for you, you have such authority outside. However, we are still stuck training within. Luo Feng shook his head. Virtual Universe Company, their nurture for the core members had different levels. The top 1,000 of the Genius battles were immediately sent to train in Primal Chaos City for 30 years to lock in their foundation. Universe-level core members were to train in the Virtual Universe Company's 4 secret regions, safely listening to undying lessons, and to train and take on missions. Domain Lord-level members would command bodyguard teams, going to a particular universe country to control the territory. According to Luo Feng, that would be akin to going to the border and acting as a governor. This was truly the beginning of interactions with affairs of the universe. It was considered leaving the safety of the Virtual Universe Company, as everything was to be decided on one's own. Sector Lord members were placed in even more dangerous situations. They were going to explore the universe itself, and were even sent to the terrifying external battlefield where the strong were like minced meat sometimes. They were also sent to the even more dangerous universe secret regions. Value your chance. Yiku sighed. Luo Feng, you are currently still universe level. You can safely stay under the protection of the Virtual Universe Company to train and take missions within a controlled area. When you reach Domain Lord level and get placed in a universe country, controlling a large territory, that's when your true grueling training begins. That's truly dangerous. Especially at Sector Lord level, where you are not even allowed to bring your guard team, you'll go through many life and death situations. Then, Luo Feng nodded. Universe level was considered a child that required nurturing. Domain Lord was considered youths, who were able to explore outside. Sector Lords were considered adults, who were beginning their life or death struggles. If successful, they would reach the undying level. It was a pity that the efficiency rate was very, very low. Within classroom 2, more absolute beginning members entered. There were already more than 100. While Luo Feng and Yiku sat together and chatted, another golden-bearded dwarf walked over, smiling. Yiku, this person beside you should be Luo Feng, right? Zhe Wu. Yiku glanced at him. The dwarf smiled at Luo Feng. How do you do? I'm Zhe Wu, similar to Yiku. I am in the domain lord level. I have heard of you before and I've always wanted to meet you. However, there hadn't been a chance until now. How do you do? Luo Feng smiled and waved. Luo Feng, Zhe Wu, this punk is crafty, but he's still not bad. I've known him for over 1,000 years. Yiku introduced Luo Feng. Zhe Wu rubbed his golden beard. Sitting beside them, he said softly, I heard that during your first time in Primal Chaos City, you passed 5 levels of the Heavenly Bridge in 30 years, right? Luo Feng nodded. Powerful indeed, respect. Zhe Wu nodded. Zhe Wu, speak what's on your mind. Yiku frowned. Zhe Wu said softly, Luo Feng, I want to discuss something with you. Luo Feng frowned. I want to exchange for some things in the virtual universe treasure trove. However, I don't have enough points. Zhe Wu shook his head. I hope, Luo Feng, you can help me exchange for them. And when that happens, I'll use cash to buy them from you. Depending on how many points you use, I'm willing to exchange 1 mixed element for every 5 points spent. If you use 1,000 points, I'll give you 200 mixed elements. Zhe Wu said, you should know, this is a good deal. Luo Feng was shocked. Every 5 points he spent he would receive 1 mixed element. This price was not bad. According to the prices of the treasures within the trove, from what Luo Feng calculated, about 7 to 8 points equated to 1 mixed element. Go away. Yiku pushed Zhe Wu away. Get away, you bastard, actually trying to swindle my friend. It's not considered swindling. He passed 5 levels, with the 10 times reward, that's 31k points, and he has no need for them now. Also, the price I offered him is quite high. Zhe Wu said. Yiku frowned and said, all right, with your little calculations, you think I wouldn't know? I will not stop you. But, I will speak directly to Luo Feng about this and explain certain things to him. If he then still wishes to deal with you, I won't bother with your deals anymore. What's going on? Luo Feng was curious. Speak. Zhe Wu seemed unhappy, almost like a gangster. Luo Feng. Yiku said softly, right now when you exchange for items you'll discover 1 mixed element equates to about 7 or 8 points, right? Luo Feng nodded, but let me tell you, the things within the treasure trove can only use points. Core members under the Undying level, they can only rely on the Heavenly Bridge, Fantasy Ocean, Undying Altar and taking on missions to acquire points. The points are extremely valuable. Yiku emphasized, of course, you still think, as long as you have money, you can buy these treasures in the real world, right? Luo Feng couldn't help but nod. Right. With enough money, he could buy any treasure within the auctions. You are wrong. Yiku shook his head. The auctions are separated into basic, mid and high level. Universe country auctions are all basic level and the lowest requirement is a 3-star client. The high-level auctions, however, require at least a 5-star client. Simply preparing for it requires many years. Hence it takes very, very long before a high-level auction occurs. And within these auctions, you won't necessarily get what you want. However, the treasure trove is different. Everything you need is available there. A few high-level items are rarely seen even in the high-level auctions because the 5 major powers do not wish to circulate these extremely rare items. Yiku said, however, all these items are usually available in the treasure trove. The further you get, the more obvious the importance of the treasure trove becomes. However, exchanging for items in the treasure trove relies solely on points. Yiku sighed, and the points are hard to acquire. Anyone under Undying level cannot use money to exchange for points. And after becoming Undying, only then can one use money to exchange for points. The rule for Undyings of the Virtual Universe Company is 1 mixed element for 1 point. Luo Feng was shocked. I've said what I needed to, you make your own choices. Yiku said, Yiku is right. Beside, the gold-bearded dwarf nodded. A few rare items can't be bought at all outside. Hence the points are extremely valuable. However, Luo Feng, you are currently only universe level, the things you need can be bought outside as well. You have no need to waste your points. If you help me buy them, I'll give you cash, 5 points for 1 mixed element. It's very worth it. Luo Feng laughed. Yiku watched as Zhe Wu left unwillingly. Laughing. Luo Feng, I was worried you'd agree I was never going to deal with him. Luo Feng smiled. What a joke. Simply buying the 3 books of the time-space scribbles required 100,000 points. He was still worrying about how to get points. Why would he help someone else buy things using his points? That's right, you are considered powerful. First time in Primal Chaos City and completing 5 levels, one has to know the 10x reward is only for the first time. Yiku shook his head. The 31,000 points you have with the initial 10,000 award. It may seem like points are easy to acquire, but you'll see later on. Luo Feng listened intently. Yiku was after all a domain lord. His accumulated experience was much more. I have an assisting metal life form Kale. Yiku shook his head. This life form can form armor, form weapons, and even fuse with a ship. It's an excellent helping hand. In order to nurture this Kale and make it evolve to domain lord was easy. However, to sector lord level, the materials required alone cost 86,000 points. I can only look at it and let my head ache. And after reaching sector lord level, the amount to be spent on Kale alone would get even more shocking. As for it to become an undying, I don't even dare to imagine the number of points required for the materials now. Luo Feng thought. Yiku had the metal life form. He himself had the plant life form cloud contact vine. Right now it was already domain lord level 2. Back when it was breaking through from universe level 9 to domain lord, it cost him 1 life fruit, Barbata, the cloud contact vine's breakthrough and evolution to sector lord. How many points do I have to spend? 6.2 million mixed elements and luck. A huge wave crashed within Luo Feng's heart. 6.2 million mixed elements. What a terrifying amount that was. The entire Black Dragon Mountain star field alone was only worth about 300,000 to 1 million mixed elements. Back then, your teacher had to break out his entire fortune to make it successfully. When the cloud contact vine reached the undying level, it was extremely powerful. It was even more powerful than normal human undyings. When your teacher had it, it was almost like his power had doubled. Even if others were stronger than your teacher, they would find it extremely hard to kill him. Barbata said. Very hard to kill? Didn't he get killed in the end anyway? Luo Feng thought. Points. Luo Feng was nervous. The amount needed to be accumulated wasn't easy to complete. Breaking through, however, was very difficult. To nurture a cloud contact vine up to the sector lord level, the price alone gave him a headache, as it would require about 120k points in total. Buying the time-space scribbles requires points, nurturing the cloud contact vine requires points, repairing the Yunmo planet ship requires points, and on top of that they all need such huge amounts of it. Luo Feng thought, at least currently my stress level still isn't that elevated. Luo Feng had barely enough point to use at the moment. He didn't need to nurture the cloud contact vine or repair the ship yet. Teacher. Within Classroom 2, over 100 absolute beginning members bowed respectfully. A 30-meter-tall demon god Undying walked into the room. His entire body was almost like metal, with 3 horns on his head. With a rumble, gold, as strong as the sun and iron, it's sturdy, unstoppable. Space holds within it all sorts of things and their energies. When time stops, space is all that is in the universe. Silence. This Undying didn't allow anyone to speak at all during his classes, and he would always start the classes with those symbolic words about gold like the sun, space encompassing everything. This violent-tempered and wild being with a weird temperament still had many members that enjoyed his lessons. This Undying explained to the class. With a wave of his hand, origin laws could be seen floating in its path. It's that way. Luo Feng carefully listened, occasionally realizing something important, sometimes nodding and at other times frowning. After a while the class ended. Luo Feng turned and was taken aback. Yiku, who was beside him, had suddenly vanished. Usually even if he leaves the virtual universe, he would say goodbye. Luo Feng was curious. It's weird that he left halfway. At this time, Luo Feng tried to call Yiku, however, it's cut off. Luo Feng smiled. Must be something important. The call denial service was normal and regularly seen. Usually while one was studying, training or on a mission, they couldn't be distracted. Hence, they would choose to cut off all contact from the virtual universe network. There was of course one more possibility, and that was death. The moment one dies, the AIS and quantum computers would be unable to go online, naturally not allowing any calls. After finishing the lesson, Luo Feng didn't rush to choose a technique from the Golden Horned Beast. He decided to head to the Undying Altar and Fantasy Ocean to give it a shot. Points. Right now I require hundreds of thousands of points, and I would even need more in the future. Luo Feng was worried. How do I get more points? Just from the heavenly bridge won't be enough at all. From what the two domain lords Yiku and Xie Jiwu had said, Luo Feng was able to deduce that the points would get more valuable later on. Even Undying would use money to exchange for points. Because the virtual universe company's treasure trove only allowed exchanges for points, first I'll hit the Undying Altar and Fantasy Ocean to take a look. Core members could easily enter any of the three places: Heavenly Bridge, Undying Altar, and Fantasy Ocean. Undying Altar. A black endless mountain range, and on each of the peaks there was a golden altar. With one look, one could see that on the tens of thousands of peaks there were similarly tens of thousands of golden altars. A black-haired youth appeared in one of the golden altars. Luo Feng appeared before the altar, feeling somewhat uncomfortable. I can't feel the universe origin law ripples. I can't feel the energies from the outside world too. The genetic energy within is gone too, and my spirit energy has been reduced to a bare minimum as well. Peculiar, it was a very uncomfortable feeling. Losing his genetic energy, spirit energy, all the ripples of the origin laws, everything was gone. The only thing that remained was his physical body strength, purely testing my strength. Undying Altar. Luo Feng looked up. This altar had a total of 99 points. Right at the top was the 100-point mark. Only when one's body exertion reaches 100 points will one have perfect control over their body. Standing on the altar, he swiftly reached the stand. On the stand was a human-shaped target. Beside it was a screen with the words, which, when translated into Mandarin read, "Within 1 second, please use your fists, elbows, head, knees and feet separately to attack the target. According to the lowest attack, we will determine your strength. 5 attacks." Luo Feng was stunned. He originally thought it would be like Earth's measurement, where just one punch would do. He didn't expect that he had to do 5 attacks separately with these body parts all within 1 second. Let's give it a shot. Luo Feng started to wiggle his muscles and bones. He attacked the target. Rumble. His legs swished through the air. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, immediately attacking the target before him. In an instant Luo Feng's body became like a circular movement. His fists were like a mythical beast punching strongly against the target's head. 1 attack. After which he bent his body and condensed his energy, violently kicking the chest of the target, causing it to cave in slightly. 2nd attack. The moment he landed, he once again fiercely jumped up and raised his knee to smash into the target's stomach, exploding with energy. 3rd attack. After which he arced his body and almost like a large bow, slapping backwards and smashing his forehead into the target's chest. 4th attack. After which his entire body jumped up and with a right twist, his muscles seemed to condense into knots and released all his energy into his right elbow, smashing hard into the target. 5th attack complete. Luo Feng looked at the screen. The numbers that appeared: 31, 28, 36, 29, 35, score 28, points awarded 0, my exertion is only 28 times. Luo Feng shook his head. Back on Earth, that 9-level Thunder Blade's highest level was only 7 times. Of course the current Luo Feng's perspective was completely different. He could easily create thousands of techniques better than the 9-level Thunder Blade, just like how the creator of the 9-universe tablet could write so many techniques in time-space scribbles. In 1 second, use 5 portions of your body to attack. The lowest score will be your score. The requirements are harsh. After trying that one time, Luo Feng understood why, in a short amount of time to use all these parts to reach 100 points, that would mean one should have perfect control of his body. Again, 5 continuous attacks, 5 results again, 35, 30, 36, 29, 35, score 29, points awarded 0, again. Score 28, again. Score 30. Time and again, he tried non-stop over hundreds of times. His best score was only 32, and the lowest was at 26. Ultimately, he still got 0 points. Passing the Heavenly Bridge, Fantasy Ocean, and Undying Altar could help one get points. However, they had different rules. The 9-universe Heavenly Bridge had a total of 27 levels. The first level gave 100 points, second 200, third 400, and they compounded on, each giving twice the amount of the last level before. The Fantasy Ocean had many islands. From the outermost island, as one was heading inwards deeper into Fantasy Ocean islands, the hypnotism and mental pressure would get increasingly terrifying. The point system was similar to the Heavenly Bridge. From outside going in, there were a total of 21 islands. The first gave 100 points, second 200, third 400, it compounded on, the deepest of the fantasy ocean being Island 21. Even Undyings and the Knights would attempt Fantasy Ocean and Heavenly Bridge as they yielded high points. However, the Undying altar was different. Perfect control of one's entire body was a prerequisite to becoming Undying. Hence the points given were the lowest of the three. If one got a score of 50, he would be awarded 1,000 points. Score of 60, 2,000 points. Score of 70, 4,000 points. Score of 80, 8,000 points. Score of 90, 16,000 points. Score of 100, 50,000 points. But for a score below 50, 0 points, my strength usage is so weak. In that particular altar amidst the tens of thousands of golden altars on the Black Mountain Range, Luofeng tried over and over. He tried for a total of tens of thousands of times. Even after using one entire day, his best score was still only 34. He couldn't blame anybody. Firstly, he was a spirit reader, he never really trained using his strength that way. Even though the Mosha clan was proficient in close combat, it was after all an energy life form. It didn't rely on muscles or bones to unleash its strength, it didn't even have a strength per se, hence it couldn't train in this aspect. As for the Golden Horned Beast, it was a blood and flesh life form, and it did emphasize on strength exertion. However, these many years, the Golden Horned Beast had been specializing in absolute space and deities of the world. The rest of its time was spent studying the gold origin laws. It never actually trained in any battle techniques. However, its body makeup was naturally gifted in strength exertion. Even if it didn't specially study it, it could still reach about 60 or 70 points. Human body's strength usage, however, was harder. For Luofeng to reach 34 points, that was still mostly because of his strong consciousness and his comprehension of the origin laws. How shameful, I actually got 0 points. Luofeng thought. When I return, I have to find a battle technique for the Golden Horned Beast that emphasizes on strength exertion. Strength exertion is one of the requirements to become Undying. I cannot overlook it, so what if I can't get any points from the Undying altar? I'll head to Fantasy Ocean next. My consciousness and willpower is what I'm the most confident in. Fantasy Ocean, I have to go deeper and get more points. Luofeng immediately headed towards Fantasy Ocean. Suddenly, mail? Luofeng pointed in mid-air and a screen appeared, and on it was a mail. It's from the Virtual Universe Company? Luofeng opened the mail and as he read, his entire face went completely pale. That's not possible, it's impossible. Luofeng couldn't help but shake his head. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.